It's a review for Midnight Run with Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin. Um, this is a classic movie from 1988. A very funny movie. One of my favorites from the time period. For a comedy, very funny. Charles Grodin, kind of deadpan, underrated, understated comedy mixed with De Niro's kind of over the top anger. Like there's a line in it where De Niro says he has an ulcer. I think he's ulcer, and then Charles Grodin says, well, that makes sense because you have two expressions: silence and rage." I don't know. This movie really works for me. I think it's very funny. The director is the director of Beverly Hills Cop, the first one. He did Scent of a Woman too, because I was like, he did like 3 movies. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't watched Scent of a Woman in a long time. I don't know how good it is. He did Meet Joe Black, Midnight Run, Beverly Hills Cop. He did some Saturday Night Live. He did an episode of it. He really didn't do that many movies, and then he did Gigli, like the famously terrible movie, with Ben Affleck and J Lo. But after that, he just quit directing. It just ended his career. And yeah, he just stopped. He didn't even direct TV shows or anything. So wow, that movie destroyed this guy's whole career. I remember liking Meet Joe Black, but Beverly Hills Cop, the first Beverly Hills Cop, I love that movie. I would say I like that movie more than this. But this is very, very good, very good. And basically, Robert De Niro is a bounty hunter. In the beginning of the movie, he almost gets killed. He used to be a cop, and I think he was kicked off the force because he was accused of being corrupt. He wasn't corrupt, but I can get into that later. And so he's kind of angry about all of that. He has an ex-wife. He has a kid he doesn't know. He's not very happy with his life, let's say. And he gets a big opportunity because Charles Grodin was an accountant for mobsters, and he has to go track him down because he gets offered $100,000 to do it. He agrees. And he tracks him down very quickly. He's good at what he does. I think he goes to New York, and I think he has to get him back to LA. So he has to go across the country. And then he gets him, and the rest of the movie unfolds. Like they get on an airplane, because just take an airplane back. Boom, got him there in LA. I think he has like 5 days to get him there. So you get on an airplane, easily. You get him back. It's 8-hour flight or something like that. 7-8 hours, whatever. But he gets him on the plane. Charles Grodin starts freaking out, saying he has a phobia of flying. He's totally freaking out. Then they stop the plane. The stewardess gets the pilot. The pilot comes talk to him, and he explains that he has this phobia of flying. Robert De Niro, and earlier in the movie, he was able to steal a badge from the FBI. He's using it there. Says he's an FBI agent. Says he's this guy Alonzo Mosely, which is a joke throughout the whole movie. And the pilot says, you can't transport a prisoner if he doesn't want to go on a plane. You have to find alternate transportation. So he has to, so he does. Then they get on a train, and they keep having to get on different modes of transport throughout the movie. And I think it's a really funny movie. Um, really well directed. Great script. Oh, okay. This guy helped write Bad Boys, George Gallo. It's a good script too. Martin Lawrence, Will Smith movie. I don't know. I haven't really seen much of his other stuff though, but he wrote a movie called Wise Guys. Danny DeVito. Never seen that, but that makes sense. There's definitely a lot of wise guys in this movie. Um, but yeah, great cast: Robert De Niro, Charles Grodin, Yaphet Kotto, who unfortunately died a few years ago. Really good actor. He's an alien, of course. Um, great scenes in Alien, like how they want more money. I think he's in The Wire, I think, right? Yeah, unaccredited, but he was in one episode of The Wire. Um, but yeah, really good actor. There's a running gag with him that's really funny, and John Ashton, Dennis Farina, Joe Pantoliano. So, and yeah, obviously John Ashton is in Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2 and 3, I think, but three's terrible. So the less said about three, the better, probably. um, but yeah, I'll get into spoilers now. So they're jumping from different transport to different transport. It's and throughout the way they're being stopped by mobsters, by the FBI, because the mobsters want to kill Charles Grodin because he knows too much, and he's going to go to jail. They're afraid he's going to testify against him, and the FBI wants him, which Robert De Niro really doesn't have a problem with, but he has to take him physically to LA to Joe Pantoliano and give it to him so he can get his 100,000. Otherwise, he doesn't get it. And otherwise, Joe Pantoliano also loses his money too. So, um, but yeah, and then throughout the way, they learn more about each other. Um, they actually go visit his daughter because they need money because um, John Ashton gets hired by Joe Pantoliano because he loses faith in Robert De Niro because he has him on the plane. He calls him. He's like, "I'll be there, in 12 hours or whatever." And he's like, "Okay, good." And then a day, half a day goes by. A day goes by. He's like, "Where are they?" So then he calls John Ashton. He only offers him 25K. He doesn't know that he offered De Niro 100K, and so then John Ashton, um, he's not as smart as De Niro, but he's kind of smart. He calls the credit card company. He says, "Where's the last place it was used?" So then he's gonna go there. Um, oh yeah, and it was Grand Central Station, so he knows they got on a train. He knows that they're heading to L.A., and he cancels his credit card because he says he's De Niro. And then De Niro, he has some cash, but not that much. He only has one credit card, so um, so they run out of money. Then they go visit his ex-wife. Uh, She gives him her car, I think a little bit of money. I mean, Robert De Niro is a deadbeat dad in this, so, you know, not exactly the most likable of character, De Niro, but it is explained later that he was offered to take bribes from mobsters in Chicago, but he wouldn't do it. Then the police, I think, raid his house. I think he said they find a bunch of drugs that were planted in his house. So then he gets fired from the force in disgrace, and this is all mixed up because the guy that offered him a bribe is the guy that Charles Grodin may testify against and wants Charles Grodin dead. So it all connects back to that. It's a nice script. I would think this is influenced by Planes, Trains, Automobiles. Because when was that? Is that 87? Yeah, that's 87. I mean, you know, it's not a rip off of that movie, but I think it's got to be influenced by it. But you know, it's the year before, so you never really know. Because they're probably filming this in 87, and that came out in 87, so maybe not. It kind of reminds me of that, because in that movie, they're constantly jumping to different forms of travel. They're on airplane, you know, planes, trains, and automobiles, obviously. Just like this, they're in cars, they're in trains, they're on a bus, I think, at one time. It's just like that movie, but again, they came out at very similar times, so I mean, you don't even know if it's influenced at all by it, really. I would say I like that movie more, but this is still a very solid, very good comedy. Definitely a dry comedy, definitely. Planes, Trains has John Candy and Steve Martin. It's a little more over the top, I'd say, and that movie has a little bit more heart too. But you know, this movie has some heart too, especially at the end, because De Niro knows that if he puts him in jail, they're gonna kill him right away, and he actually ends up letting him go. And Charles Grodin he said about $300,000 hidden on him, so he gives it to De Niro, and you kind of get the feeling that Grodin has more money hidden in other places. He's a very smart guy. He's an accountant. And then he disappears, and De Niro walks off with about 300,000. So yeah, it's, you know, win-win situation. They in the end end up respecting each other, end up liking each other. But yeah, definitely recommend the movie, especially if you're a fan of Planes, Trains, Automobiles, or Beverly Hills Cop. So, but yeah, that's about it. Like, comment, subscribe, and that's it.